What?
Hey guys, on Zoom, can you hear us on Zoom?
Yep. Hello, somebody on Zoom?
Yep. Okay. There's that for you, my friend.
Excellent.
Okay.
Let's make sure it works before you leave.
Stop press bounce button.
Because we've been through this before, you and I.
Okay, click up on that. Yep.
You click down, actually.
Yeah. Just click the other way now.
Yeah.
There you go, one more.
Yeah, that's where I want to start.
All right.
Okay.
You're good.
Thanks, Hunter. I appreciate it. First of all, good morning. I'm not going to be here all that long. Colleen and I have taught this class together and separately several times, and we really enjoy it. She was due to teach today. I have a doctor's appointment at 10 I can't miss, and she had a appointment with a client. So somewhere in the next 20 minutes or so, she'll come in and we'll just pass the baton back and forth. So please tell me your names. Corbin. Okay.
Daniel.
I have a son named Daniel. That's easy. And Susie. Okay. I'm Greg Christofferson. I have been, my story very quickly is that grew up in Pleasant Grove, spent high school back in the East Coast, back to school, mission school. When my wife and I got married, we moved to Southern California, and that's where we raised our family in Irvine, California for about 40 years. She passed away. I had one daughter up here and wanted me up here. And so I moved up a little over 5 years ago. And since then, of my 4 children and 14 grandchildren, I now have 3 children and 13 grandchildren here. So just one holdout in Southern California. I'm going to go see this week. My little granddaughter is in Peter Pan. So she's in 2 musicals this summer. She said, Papa, I have one where I have lines and one where I don't. So come to the one where I have lines, okay? So she's Mrs. Darling in Peter Pan. I retired, just did a couple things, helping out my son-in-law with the business and stuff, and got just bored silly. And so I got my license and started in January of 2020. Colleen Christensen and I have been partners up until very recently. We're still doing deals together, but we're also doing some deals separately. We've been very successful as a partnership. We did almost 25 million last year. And this year, so far a little bit less, but we're going to catch up by the end of the year because it's going well. Sheila Trujillo has been an important part of our success. She's with First Colony Mortgage. And the reason that Sheila is here is because having a lender partner at your open houses is extremely valuable. And we'll talk about that as we go. We'll have Sheila give some explanation on that as well. So you really want to have a team if possible. You can't do it every open house because people's schedules, but it's really worth doing it. So tell me about you real quickly. Corbin. Uh-huh.
Last 2 years. I just got my real estate license.
Oh, good. What made you decide to jump into real estate?
Gives me freedom to work my other, line of work. I work in film. Commercial work, work and stuff.
Great. Great. One of the wonderful things about Keller Williams is that they take young people like you, and if you follow Gary Keller, the MREA and the other books, and you really do that, I see guys here that are mid-30s, late 30s who already have multiple rental properties that they own. Gary's philosophy is live frugally for 10 years and take the money that you make and invest in real estate yourself. It's kind of silly. A lot of people who sell real estate don't invest in real estate. But if you do that, the old saying, if you take care of your real estate, it'll take care of you. So I encourage you to, take all of those classes as well. With Shoni that are really, really good on wealth building. Daniel.
Daniel Simmons, been licensed for mostly I work out of Mapleton, and planning on doing real estate for years and years and years, but got laid off.
Good. What were you doing before?
Program.
Okay. Well, you should be excellent at this. The IT component of real estate is really important, that you understand how to use the systems, and not just your command system at Keller Williams, but also dealing with the MLS and doing your CMAs and all of that kind of stuff, you know, so that's a good background to have. Susie? Married to this guy? Yeah. Okay.
I'm from Mexico. We have 2 kids. What else? I was doing real estate in Idaho for about 2 years.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And
Very good. Well, a marriage partnership is a wonderful real estate partnership if you can stand to be together 24/7. No, it really is. We've had some really successful teams that are husband and wife teams. Are you guys part of a team, or are you on your own? Okay. So your own team is really, really excellent. Corbin, you might consider joining one of the teams for your first year or so, just to get more experience and get leads fed to you and that kind of thing as well. We have some excellent teams here at KW, so you might think about that idea.
Yeah, I know some guys that are with a while.
Okay, good. Yeah, bunch of sharp young guys there, no doubt about it. Well, today we're to talk about open houses. It relates to this. Nothing else about your business will have as big an impact on it as the number of leads you have. I mean, you go, duh, but the reality is that a significant part of our time is involved in lead generation to get people that we can either represent them as sellers or buyers. What do you think the number one source of leads is? You know the answer. What's the number one source of leads?
Open house.
No. Your own SOI. That's why it's so important to develop and maintain your own database of your SOI. And Command gives you lots of tabs that you can use in order to kind of segregate how you want to approach people. And anyway, that's not the purpose of this class, but the number one source of leads is always going to be your own SOI. That's just a given. Number two is open houses. Number two, 51% of the people nationwide who buy a home have been through it as an open house. So think about that. Half of the people out there who are buying homes go to an open house. Don't you want to, good morning. Don't you want to just grab 51% of the market? Of course you do. This is Colleen Christensen, the queen of open houses. We have just took Hunter a while to get us organized, and so I'm going to give you this because we do have someone on Zoom. And so we're at the first slide, so that makes it
easy, doesn't it?
We just talked about number one is your SOI, and just click on that. Can the person on Zoom hear us now?
Hello.
Are you there, Tanner?
Yeah, we got 5 on Zoom.
Okay, 5 on Zoom. Okay.
Excellent.
Okay. Yeah, you see yourself here on the screen when you're on the screen. Everything else, the clicker, push the down button to advance the slides.
And we're on the first slide.
You're on the second slide.
Second slide. Got it. Okay, great. Thanks.
Introduce Sheila. Here's all of our stuff. I left my plastic holders, my last open house, so these go upstairs, as does this, just to show them. Okay.
All righty. I'm sure you probably already did this, but just so I know, tell me how long you've been in real estate, and so I know where. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. How about you guys on Zoom? Nobody's talking. Okay. I've been doing real estate here in Utah for 6 years. I sold for a little while when I was in my 20s in California. And then I went into the loan signing where I was like a mobile notary for real estate transactions for 16 years. And then I came back. As soon as I came to Utah, I knew I'd get my license. My kids are all gone now. And so this is what I do pretty much all my waking hours. Open houses is how I made all my money my first year.
This is Corbin, Daniel and Susie. and
Oh,
Heather.
love this. Oh, very good.
$4+ million house.
Tomorrow. We're signing today. Yes, that's my highest now. Greg and I's record before that was 3.6. So we've had a few, we've been very fortunate. You just never know. In fact, this one too, I met doing a loan signing. I was in his house. He was signing on a property he had sold in New Jersey. And, he asked me how long I've been doing the loan sign part of it. And I told him for long time, 16 years, but I'm really busy in real estate now, so I don't even do these very often. And that led to our real estate conversation. He goes, "What, can you find me a house?" So it took almost a year of me sending him stuff constantly. My advice is to always send it to their phones. If you set them up a listing alert and it just goes directly to them, there's nothing from you personal, so they have that connection, or that they could ask questions about it. So that's I send them to myself, and then I look through them and I send them via text the very best that I find. And I just
More curated.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's more of a conversation you're trying to start. I would just usually just say something I liked about the house. And a lot of times I got no response, none, for months. I almost took them off. I almost stopped doing it a few times. And then like a year into it, suddenly he just responded and said, "Okay, we're ready." We started looking at houses. Within weeks, we had him under contract for a $1.3 million house. Yeah, they had to buy that month. It was like December, and they had to buy by the end of the year, the tax guy told them. So we were buying anything. It was just a matter of, yeah. And then within 1 year after that, he called me and said, "I don't like looking in the neighbor's backyard." He goes, "I think I want to find something else. If you can find me the wow house, I will buy something else. Otherwise, we're going to build." So I took he was in Draper, and he only wanted to look right around there, Alpine, Highland, Lehigh, Draper. But I went ahead and put it out further anyway, just because I wanted to catch something. And I went all the way to Vineyard. Well, that very week, Clay Winder had a listing that had just come on the market. It was on the lake. It had a pickleball court, a pool, a waterfall went into it. It was crazy cool. And it was, I think, 2.4. And we went and saw it. It was the house. So sometimes you can go further out. If you find the right house, people will. And a lot of times what they tell you they want changes the longer they look. So be flexible with that too, would be my advice. So we bought that house, and then a friend of his at work, he recommended for me. And that's how I have the one I have right now. So you just never know where it's going to come from. And if I hadn't hung in there when he was ignoring me all the time, he just wasn't ready. And a lot of times you'll meet people at open houses where you'll do this. Most importantly, I believe, is if you get a phone number and a contact at an open house where you connected, get them in front of something within a few days. You want because they're going to go to another open house again next week or after that open house. So you want to show them something. So try to find something to show them, even if you have to widen the search. If you can't, make sure you're sending them stuff on a regular basis, and they may just be busy too. So stick to it until they send you that text message that says we bought something or we're not interested anymore. Something that tells you see you later. Send them stuff, because you just never know. That's my best advice. Okay. So I was saying my first year of real estate, I did 19 transactions. I think 16 of them came from open houses. Some of them came from people who followed my signs, and I do a lot of signs. At least, I would say 10. I used to do 20. Gotten lazy as I've gotten busier. But I used to go, out as far as I could go. If I could get to a Walmart, that was always my goal. I want to be to a Walmart or a grocery store. And I didn't care if it took 2 miles. And that's why you need 20 signs. And I had somebody come in who was at Walmart one day. She wasn't even shopping. She had gotten married. They lived in a condo and they wanted to buy a bigger house for their children. And she just thought, what the heck? She got done with Walmart, followed my signs 2 miles away, came in and bought the house. I was doing an open house for Peter Morkel. He had asked somebody to do an open house for his team. And I did a lot of open houses for other people's teams because I didn't have my own listings. And it was on a weekend, a holiday weekend, and nobody on his team wanted to do the open house. So she walked in, she called her husband, he came down, they were unrepresented. So I got to represent them to Peter Morkel's team. Better still, they had a condo they needed to sell. So I got to get that listing. And yeah, he told everybody on his team that Monday, guess what you guys missed? So, and I have since sold them another house. So
That's Greg. He's probably one. Hello? Hi.
So I am a big fan of open houses. I think that people that come to open houses are that's funny. After the 5th week, somebody walked in, they were unrepresented and bought the house. So that was my first deal, and that was like a $600,000 house. So what if I had given up? I mean, obviously nobody's showing up to this open house, but I put out all my signs and they followed them in. They had been shopping that day for a house and hadn't found anything. They drove in, saw that house, and fell in love with it. It wasn't on their radar for whatever reason. A lot of open house stuff is, well, I think all houses sell by an emotional connection, but open houses especially so. And almost everybody, most people know of a realtor. So you have that kind of minute or two to make a connection. And that's what I was started to say. I wish somebody had told me that they're not all going to be successful, because I would beat myself up and feel frustrated. And I think that comes across. Instead of remembering that the reason you're at that house is to sell that house, not get a client. And hopefully they'll be unrepresented and you get the commission. But I have to remind myself occasionally that I'm here to sell this house. What I didn't realize is a lot of people who are thinking about selling their houses in the neighborhood are coming to see how you're representing that house. After I changed that mindset, I started getting more listing appointments for my open houses. So just be nice to them. I mean, you're just there to show the house. Think of at least 2 things. And if you don't know what the 2 things are, if you're doing it for somebody else, ask them to ask their clients 2 things that they love about the house, because you need talking points, especially if it's a smaller like townhome. Anything, if it has a special spice drawer or something, they're going to know something about their house that they like. The neighborhood's really good. And a lot of times the neighbors come at open house. Then you can say to the next people, I've talked to the neighbors and something that they said. Anything you can use for talking points. If you go and door knock the neighborhood ahead of time, that will give you a lot of good talking points. Sheila and I door knocked a neighborhood and it sold, not during the open house, but to somebody we had door knocked. He was the coach on a football team and they wanted to get into that area. And so door knocking for an open house is an easy door knock, because you're not saying, do you know anybody that wants to buy or sell real estate, or, hi, I'm a real estate agent. You're inviting them to an open house. It's just an easy thing.
Can I show these at this point?
Sure.
So these are some flyers that we do for First Colony, and it has your name and the information of the house on the front. And then on the back, I do different things depending on what we have going on. But these are things you can take door knocking, right? So that you have something that you don't have to create. You just have to know by like Thursday morning, just the MLS number and your information, and that's what my marketing department pops out. So, and then you can have these flyers too with your MLS sheet at the house. It's just something that looks professional that you don't have to worry about, that you can give them that has your name on it, cause nobody wants a business card anymore anyway, but.
Well, and they like stuff that goes with the house. They're always gonna walk out with this in their hand. And you just don't know, and they probably won't lose this as fast. They may set this aside. This is easier to find than a business card. And they do it for free, so you don't have to pay for the printing either. And they like information about the, well, this one, she didn't put anything about it, but that one she held up, she did. Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you for sure, the best way to get clients at an open house is have a lender with you. What happens is people who go to open houses generally are going to mini open houses. And there's lots of realtors out there trying to get their business. And so they kind of put this wall up the minute they walk in the door because they don't want to be pitched to. And so if you have a lender there, they'll ask them, do you have your financing in order? Well, there's a question you're gonna need to know anyway, especially if you're thinking about working with them. And they'll start talking to her because they want the information the lender can provide. That's interesting to them. And then she will always work me into the conversation from that point. You know, are you working with a realtor? Colleen, there's no best realtor. And there it goes. So it's kind of a plug for you, but it's just a nice conversation piece. The other really cool thing with Sheila is she'll stay with the people. If she gets the contact information and they're not ready to buy right now, what's the longest you've worked with somebody before you got them ready?
Well, this one, Greg doesn't even know I'm still working with them, that they're wanting to get going, and we've had him for probably 2 years.
She's called me on clients and said, do you remember such and such? And it's like, no. She goes, well, we got them at an open house, or you gave me this client like 2 years ago and they're ready to go shopping now. And she reminds them when she gets them to that point who their realtor is and that she's contacted me. And so I have.
Even this one right here, right? I got some people that came through and we started talking and had Greg come over. And so we're working with the Gorleys from this open house. And I actually got another lead off this, but they say they have their own realtor, which is very disappointing. But so open houses, just Colleen is the queen of open houses. Okay. And why I say that is that like there's some people that just they put up a couple signs, call it good. Oh, whoever comes. It's like so half-hearted. And I actually went to an open house that was Colleen's listing once, and the agent had only a couple signs. I was like, oh, if Colleen saw this, she would. Because she does. She just goes 100%, right? And if you're wanting to get leads, go 100%. She brings so many people in from her signs. I mean,
Yeah.
She does balloons. They're nice signs. They're not just like this little red thing you got at Walmart that says open house. You know, I mean, she does the effort. And so people see that and they're like, oh, these guys must be legit. They've got these signs. But then it's expensive. You can't do everything right up front when you're getting into it. But you know, that could be a goal because there's a big difference. There's a big difference on how they do open houses versus other agents that I work with. When Colleen and Greg are at an open house, if someone asks a question, they do not let it go. They make sure they find out that question about the house and they get it answered for that person. If they don't answer it while they're there, they're taking their phone number down. Oh, wait a sec, you just got someone's phone number, right? So that they can then follow up and answer the question because they are there to sell the house, not just capture leads. Capturing leads is the benefit of doing open houses, right? So I've been with some agents, they're like, oh no, I don't know. And the person's like, aren't you trying to sell this house? You can't answer my question. You know, of course you don't know everything, just find out for crying out loud, you know? And so the mentality that Colleen and Greg have of going into these open houses just makes them super successful because they're 100%, you know, it's 100%. I'm here, it's a Saturday, but I'm going to, you know, no matter who comes in, we're going to make the best of it. And so anyway, so if you're going to do open houses, which, I mean, we all know that people, where are you going to find strangers that you've never met before
That are looking for real estate.
that are to buy a house, right? I mean, you could touch your SOI all day long and yeah, they'll come to you eventually when they're ready to buy a house, but those people, they're walking in because they want to look at houses. That's the first step of getting them to buy something. I mean, it's really, I ought to go back too. I think I've probably got more leads from open houses than almost anything else too, just from working with these guys. So anyway,
It's a personal connection. But the expectation, I just never wanted to be. I walked away when I very first started. I worked on a team for just about 3 months, and the idea that I somehow picked up was that you would get leads from every open house. So I walked away feeling very frustrated often. And a lot of times people will write on that paper and they'll give you contact. If it's correct, it still may not lead to anything. And I am the worst when it comes to following up with leads. I didn't get any of my sales because I followed up, other than when I can start texting them houses. I'm really good about that part with some people. I don't know why some I stick with and some I don't, but I guess because I can only have so much on my plate at one time. And once you get far away from them, where I've let it go for a couple weeks, month, I feel funny, which is probably a dumb thought too. I should just stick back with it. In fact, I did contact a lady recently that I let go of. I just got busy and she got mixed up in my stuff because I wasn't organized. And I realized it had been like 6 months since I talked to her. She's coming from Colorado. And she's just kind of just keeping an eye on the market. And if she ever comes though, as long as I stay with her, it would work out. But I had to go back to her and say, I'm so sorry. I don't know how my listing alert stopped, which was the truth. And would you still be interested? And she said, I think we're still going to stay here in Colorado, but we would love to keep seeing stuff. So I started again. How long does it take to send a house occasionally? Especially if you put on the listing alert who it's for, because it's only coming to me. So I just put their name on it. So when it pops in, I glance and see if it's worth sending. And
You have multiple people, if you're getting listing notes, would there be multiple people for a certain?
yes, I would make the subject line for as many people as it, especially if it's like the buy-in price, you could have tons. But there's usually something that'd be different, some of the cities they want. So it will be different alerts. But if they're exactly the same, I guess I still set them up separately. Yeah. And sometimes I find houses for other people in the alert for somebody else that it didn't reach. Yeah, I tried not to get too specific with your alerts. And when you'll notice too with your alerts, which I think is really interesting, is sometimes they send you really off the wall stuff that doesn't apply at all, or they'll throw on a trailer somehow. And that's another good reason not to send it directly to the client, because the client doesn't know that it came automatically from the computer. It also shows you're not giving it much effort. So yes, we stick with the slides at all. Actually, I usually just wing it most of the time and then go back and see if I missed anything. And usually I have it. I mean, honestly, with open houses, you're going to put out, if you make pamphlets, if Sheila probably always want to do this for you. If she doesn't, I have other people, they don't do it as well. I can say if I'm the queen of open houses, she is the queen lender of open houses. She connects to people in a way that's magical, honestly. But get your flyers made and then go out and door knock. Take you a couple hours. You can go right before the open house in the morning or go the day before and you'll pick up your talking points. Then I put out my signs. My signs look very similar to Greg's. And I probably do 10 now, not 20. I don't go to the Walmart anymore. I probably am losing a lot of sales not going to Walmart. Don't put them in front of the Walmart in Cedar Hills. They will take it away. It's the only time I've ever lost a sign. It was in by customer service. And try not to put them in front of other brokerages. They get really mad about that too. I did that by accident once. It was in the dumpster. Osmond Real Estate put my sign in their dumpster. My husband found it. Yeah. You want to ask people before. Okay, so some houses have these big corners by their house, and it does look like it's not their property. I mean, it's cement people get very possessive of that corner by their house, especially if it's a used one by a lot of people. Let's go knock on their door, take them a brochure. It's a great way to make a contact. Greg chose not to do that one day, and it was one of those people that gets really mad. I went to go pick up signs, and she came out and ripped me like you wouldn't believe about putting a sign in her yard without her permission and told me I could go get it out of the dumpster across the street at the park. That's where she put it. I think she was running across the street with it when I arrived. So I went and told him, well, guess what? So he went and got a kneader's basket, took it to her house. She would not answer the door. So we went and ate her kneader's basket. Yes. See, that's just it. Just ask. It takes 2 seconds. If they don't answer the door, I usually leave a flyer there on their front door. So at least it shows that I was at the front door. Yeah, because I mean, in the end, it's their corner. I kind of get it now. Besides that, what if they know, and a great way to, when you're asking, ask them if they know anybody that wants to live in their neighborhood. It's just like door knocking. It's a better contact. And they're going to see you as a real estate agent that does this. And if they see your signs all over the place, how many agents do that? Most agents put out 1 or 2 signs, and that's the end of it. If the neighbors see this $4.1 million house, I did Friday and Saturday open houses for 3 weeks in a row. And I went full on. It was Parade of Homes, no less, weekend. So I got a lot of people in from the Parade of Homes. I think I got 2 new clients out of the whole thing too. But people notice that stuff. Now, if I would have door knocked, now everybody would have had my business card too. And then they would have remembered when they're going to go sell a house. Hey, that lady, she did a lot of stuff I never seen anybody do before. And that's what you want. And you just don't know. You don't know where that next client's coming from. So absolutely. Mhm. Yep. It's better than a business card. It's bigger. Business cards get lost all the time. The house I'm selling that just went under contract in Cedar Hills, I still don't know how her family has my business card. But when she went to go sell her house, her sister gave her the card and said, Mom and me had this lady come over one day. I'm going to guess it's a notary job again. I think it was a notary job again. Had this lady come over, and she's just your personality type. You'll love her. This is who needs to sell your house for you. Now, who knows? Who knows if I just met them someplace else doing something else? I still don't know how they got my card, but I'm sure it was years ago too. I probably don't look like that card anymore. Uh-oh. Here we go. I don't have a listing to hold open. Well, you can put on the Facebook, Keller Williams Facebook page that you want to do an open house. Usually somebody will give it to you. I wouldn't do it that way. I put a listing alert on KW brokerage. So I know when everybody gets new listings, and I would call. If they don't put an open house, they don't schedule open house for it, call that one for sure. Because they're busy, they're doing something else, and just tell them that you would love to hold an open house for them. Would that be possible?
It's gonna be busier the first week than someone saying, oh yeah, I do this open house. It's mostly for full weeks, right?
Yes, I would absolutely, unless they're doing a price reduction, I would be looking for open houses on listings that are less than 3 weeks old. For sure, most agents don't do them the second and third week. So new listings, pay attention to the next week. Can I do an open house for you if it's not under contract? And now they're not going under contract as fast. They'll say, sure. New listings are great. Location, if I was really going to get picky, I have a lot to choose from, I would pick ones that are easy to put out signs that you'll get a lot of moving around traffic. I ask everybody that comes into my open houses, how'd you find us today? Because if they came in from the signs, they don't know anything about the house. So I know I have to give them information more specific to the house. And I kind of want to feel good about putting out all those signs. So if they say I fold the signs in, that's score. These are people who probably aren't represented. And I fluctuate with the sign-in sheet a lot because people seem so perturbed that they have to sign the sign-in sheet. But what I really, at this point, I'm very pro at sign-in sheet once again. Because if you get them to do it right away, they'll tell you right there whether they want you to talk to them or not. If they mark they have an agent, then unless they ask you any questions, they're really telling you they don't want to be talked to. They have somebody representing them, and that person should be the one that talks to them. If they write no, well, guess what? By the time I let them go, unless they want to be toured, especially as the higher end houses, I find it's more important to stay with them and show them highlights of the house. So anything like from 700 plus or more than 3,000 square feet, I think it benefits everybody for you just to walk around and point things out. And again, that's where you're really going to need to have walked the house very carefully ahead of time. Ideally, Ideally, you want to see the owners of the house so they can show you. That's what I always just say. Would you mind showing me your house, what you love about your house? Have them give you a tour. I'll give you lots of talking points. Ask the other agent if you can meet, if their clients will be there before the open house, or if they can send you a list of things and then just figure it out. Well, vacant houses should still know what their highlights are. The agent should certainly know to clue you in. The more stuff the agent can tell you about the house, the better off for you. So you can have interesting things. They probably know stuff you don't. So again, it's just doing your homework. If it's vacant, I'd be in there the day before or much earlier, and then see what's close to the house. Pull up the map and see if there's a park close to the house. Go over and check out the park. That's a talking point. If there's stores close by, anything. But again, this is really good information to get from the agent or the owners. My townhome in Cedar Hills is close to all kinds of stuff. So I actually made a whole flyer highlighting what was close by. So I had 2. Well, I had this one, and the other one. So I had 3 sheets.
You stick your sign-in sheet next to the front door.
So this is my least favorite display thing. I don't want anything. Okay, so in the kitchen particularly, I think it's really important to not clog up their. I'm a minimalist through and through, so I want the house to show as best as possible. In fact, one of the best things in my view, I can tell you about open houses is stay out of their line of sight. So when they're coming in the front door, if your best thing, and they're going to see it the minute they walk in the front door, is the view of the valley, don't stand anywhere near that, because you're not going to get that moment again for their house. So I would let them come to me. A lot of times we greet. Sheila or I will ask them to sign in wherever we've stuck it. And I usually stick the candy near it. So it's kind of like a bonus. And then I can put these somewhere else. So it's not all spread out. They're going to probably want, if they came in from the signs, they're going to want this right away. Otherwise, if we stick somewhere near the kitchen, they almost always come back to us. And the way I have conversation with them at the end of the open house is I ask for feedback and I write it down. Because if I'm doing the open house for somebody else, I want to give the agent a little summary at the end. And nothing's better than to give them talking points with their own client on what people liked about the house. If there's something they didn't like, just ask them for their feedback. Most people will be more than happy to tell you what they thought about the house. And then.
Don't be afraid to move around to get out of people's way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's real common for us to want to hang out in the kitchen, but we got to move out of the way and let somebody come in the kitchen. They want to look at the drawers, they want to open the cabinets. The kitchen is huge, right? So just make sure you're not in the way of anybody looking at it.
Any room that you're in will stifle their ability to look at the room and put themselves in it. So I just make sure I constantly move to get out of their line of view, because they're trying to make an emotional connection to the house. One of the things that I decided I could be a really good real estate agent for is it seemed like every real estate agent I had, I'm one of those people who can't hear stuff and think at the same time. I can only stay in one thing. And so my agents were always talking to me about the trees in the backyard and I just wanted them to be quiet so I could think about whether my furniture was going to fit here. Did I like this room? And I really needed quiet. So I provide that to my clients. In fact, I will tell them when I first get to a house that I'm going to stand back. I'm always within hearing of them so I can answer questions, but I'd let them guide themselves. If there's something I need to point out, I'll do it. But I'm a very quiet salesperson.
Do you do anything specific to help them get the real estate?
Just greet them. I just say hi, welcome. Then I ask them how they found us today, or did you see us online? You can say that too. And then you're going to know if they know how much it costs, how big it is. And then usually I point out where the bedrooms are. Sometimes I ask them if they want a guided tour or would they rather walk around on their own. People will tell you. You can usually read people pretty good. I mean, some people just want to get by you and go look at the house and get out. And I let those go. I mean, it could be a whole day of that. Or maybe I'll only get 3 people. Like that one house, I only got 1, but it was the one after 4 with none. You just don't know. I did, again, when I was on that team, she had new construction homes. So it was like doing a model home. And that weekend for open houses, it was either Nephi, I think it was Levan or the model home. And in my mind, I didn't really want to get a whole bunch of clients that live in Levan. So I said, I'll take the model home. And I put out my signs, all 20 of them. Out they went. And some lady who lives in that neighborhood had looked at the new homes like a year before, decided because she saw the signs that she'd follow them in, and she bought the house I was sitting in, the model home that day. So, what's yours will be yours. I'm a big believer on that. If you put yourself out there and make the best of everything. So I could have been bummed out I was at the model home because they'd been on the market forever. They once in a while got somebody come through, but I didn't. But again, I've gone through still to this day, lots of open houses I think are going to be really good, aren't. And the ones I think aren't going to be, are good. You just don't know. You don't. And you show up and have a good attitude because today could be the day. Every person that walks through that door could be that person. And they'll start to talk and I think, oh, this is going to be the one. That's what I'm thinking inside. But be cool. Just be cool, Colleen. So make them feel comfortable. Sure. I just greet them. I don't have magic stuff. That's why it makes me really uncomfortable when they say the queen of open houses. I don't have scripts. I don't really have anything. If you watched me in an open house, you'd think, I don't know what these people are talking about. I bring goodies. We're going to put out my signs. I try to talk to neighbors, and the rest of it is just a connection that you make occasionally with the right person at the right time.
But I think that one of the reasons you're queen of open houses is, like, a lot of times people start out doing open houses because they're new agents, and then they start thinking they're too good for open houses, right? Colleen and Greg get, at least half their leads from open houses. They're not, that's why we say you're the queen of open houses, because you and Greg are extremely successful, and yet you're still doing open houses. And some agents really get to the point where like, I'm too good for open houses, right? But it's never going to not be a good source of leads for you.
Well, I saw a lot of houses from the open houses. There's a bad myth out there that says you don't sell from the open house. Trust me, I sell from the open house. People come in, neighbors come in, people who followed the sign in. There's a lot of people who simply don't have, especially here in Utah, who don't have agents, don't want to have an agent because they want to have that extra bargaining power with the seller. And sometimes it does. I mean, some agents, myself included, will discount what they would have paid a buyer's agent. I do a lot of both sides. So it's an unrepresented buyer on the other side, or Greg would represent one and I'd represent the other. But yeah, I can't imagine why anybody doesn't do open houses, honestly. And it makes your client feel like you're doing everything possible to sell their house, especially if it doesn't sell right away. I will open house my listings until they sell. And my one in Cedar Hills that just went under contract finally was the longest I've ever had. I actually had to renew my staging, first time ever in 6 years. I was of the firm belief that if you price it right and you make it look absolutely the best possible, they will sell. And they have for me within the first few weeks. This one, we got some really good offers initially, but we were priced so low that we didn't want to give up closing costs. And in this market, it seems like everybody expects it and they'll walk without it. And so we ended up in the end, because we had that attitude in the beginning, selling for less than if we would have accepted the offers with the closing costs. But you don't know. I figured we were for sure going to get somebody because it was that good of a townhome. And it didn't. And it didn't get very many showings. I sat there, Greg sat there, lots of times where it was just one or two people came through. So you don't know. I've had good success on Thursdays, and I've had bad success. I just don't think there's any set rule ever. Holidays, I've had really good ones. My house that I bought myself had 8 offers, and it was on the weekday in between New Year's and Christmas. And there was a bunch of us there. So here's the thing. The busiest time in real estate is in the spring. I mean, that's when most houses are sold. But in the holidays or in the winter, real estate's still selling. There's less houses available. So it all really balances itself out. I mean, sometimes it's best when there is nothing else available because nobody wants to sell their house in the winter. And you're the only option. That's a great spot to be in.
Where they constantly see your sign in different places around the city. Or I just noticed that over time. I just pretty much the criteria.
I had a guy stop his car once and ask me for my business card because I was doing real estate at such a high level because of my open house signs. The guy never called to this day yet. That was quite a few years ago, so I'm pretty sure he's lost my card. But I should have gotten his contact. That's my husband always says that to me. Did you get their number? And they're like, no. Because I could have contacted him occasionally. I could have put him on my mailing list and invited him to my events. I would have kept him. But it's just, I forget it. I get intimidated at times. I mean, I still do really well in real estate. I was in the top 250 this last year. That was a big deal. So yes, you can do it. You can do it without all the razzle dazzle. You could be better if you did all the razzle dazzle, or you can just fall into everything like I do because I put myself in the place to fall into it. And there's enough people walking around that need a real estate agent or want to buy that house and don't want to call a realtor that they know. I actually have had clients too. I had one just recently that sold their house to somebody who door knocked them. That was a really good client. I did all the right things. Yes. It's a family friend.
Colleen, I gotta hit up.
Yes.
There's a really urgent file I'm working on for somebody.
Yeah. Yes. It's very urgent.
know.
It needs a appraisal. Did you order that already?
About for other people's rights, but I'm sent in for the FHA case number. So as soon as that comes back, I'll get it. Greg wanted me to.
Well, make sure if we're going to pass that 10-day deadline that I know to try to negotiate.
The 11th
Yeah.
is the appraisal deadline.
Thank you.
Greg wants me to just get the brochures and stuff.
Where does he want it? Oh, okay. I'll bring it up.
Nice to meet you guys. Come to my office. Walk in the building. It's just right.
And she has all kinds of sodas in her refrigerator.
We're getting shown around.
You can go to First Colony or you can go to the title company. The title company has really good snacks and ice cream. Yeah. Yes, they do. Yep. You don't ever have to. And plus we give it away at the brokerage too, in the office up there. Okay, so we talked about that. See, most of these slides, it'll be like this. They are definitely, inexpensive. Greg's still doing balloons. I actually did a helium tank this past year, which cost me a lot more than I decided than just getting balloons. Right now, I wish I had brought them to show you. I got them from, they may still have some, Hobby Lobby, and they're red, white, and blue like tassels. They had them for 4th of July, and they're 90% off. So if you go, I did not hit this one local either. I got the American Fork one. I mean, you can buy them right now for I think 20 cents.
They're not like sticks.
Yeah, I might have a picture on my phone. So that's what I'm using instead of balloons now. This is way better. I just stuck in that thing. Now I got these red, white, and blue tassels. I'm thinking, oh, this is fantastic. Yeah, because the balloons are expensive. They're like $1.25 each.
I've just been tying them. I'm using like 6 inches of cord.
Mhm.
Just tying when I tie the balloon. I'm just filling up with air.
Oh, there you go. See, that's fantastic. Right. Balloons are anything that pulls attention to the sign and just makes it look fancier. I'm not gonna be able to find it quickly. Yep.
It's instead of just setting a sign out, they could say, oh, that's something like 2 weeks, but if there's a fresh balloon on there, it's
Yeah. Did they want to spend their time going and chasing signs if it's not real? I think balloons really make it stand out. I really like the little tassel things too right now. I can't find a picture really quick to show you. If you guys write down your contact information, I'll email it to you. Go to Hobby Lobby today. At the very back of the store is where American Fork had them. 90% off. Oh, hang on. I think I just saw it. Nope. Too bad. It's called, oh, now I'm gonna forget. Matrix. Matrix Signs in American Fork is my new place. Love them. I think he charges $25 for the hard metal, but you can get this plastic one much cheaper. If you can see the tassel, can you see that? this is good. This is cheap, especially at 90% off. And it's actually more red, white, and blue than that picture showing up. Also, Matrix has really cool, if you want to get really fancy and invest, I think it was $250. It's a 2-post sign and it has solar lights on it. This is my first one I ever bought. It looks so nice. So I have a picture of that too somewhere. If you send me an email, I'll send it to you.
See it as an investment where it's, you could have 10 signs. You can see that as a one-time cost. And then, you know, if you have 2 signs and it's getting you one sale every so often, if you have 10 signs, it's getting you 5 times as much. Then that inexpensive really stuff to show you.
Well, and I think what's really cool about the signs is people assume it's your listing. I mean, they come in and they see your signs all over town. Nobody notices that somebody else's name's on that listing. I mean, some people will ask, but I don't think it really matters one way or another. But it makes you look very professional. They'll see you around town all the time. I was always surprised I never got a listing appointment for my signs. Yeah, I was always sure I would get calls for them. You just don't know though. Yeah, you just don't know what's going to do it. And honestly, you just don't know when they're going to come and where they're going to come from. My biggest sale now was a referral. And it was just these guys that are buying those houses we talked about. They're in director of operations and VP for solar, one of the biggest solar companies here. And so once you get one, that's always going to lead to more. I mean, honestly, all my business now is referral. It happened at year 3 for me. So if you just, but there's still, I would still right now, if I didn't have a listing and I didn't have anything in the, in escrow, I would absolutely do somebody else's listing, because you can advertise, as long as it's a KW listing, you can advertise it on your Facebook page. That's huge. Just make a little thing. You can get it from Canva or you can make it yourself. A lot of times I just take my pictures from the MLS, take my description, and I post that. That gets more likes than when I make a Canva type thing. Put it on my Facebook page and say, I'm having an open house this weekend, da 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 da. Nobody that sees that on Facebook knows that's not your listing. And all it has to say in the description is KW Westfield. Also, if you want to just advertise houses on your Facebook page, not doing an open house, just advertise, you can advertise any of my listings anytime. You don't have to call me and ask me. I mean, you're helping my sellers. Why not? I don't know why anybody wouldn't want you to. But anybody else's, just call and ask them. Most agents, why would they not want you to? I mean, you can put them in like the Provo and Orem, some of the swap meet or indoor, you know what I'm talking about, the for sale groups on Facebook. Some of them won't let you put houses. I don't know which ones they are. I never even worried about it. You can put out, I think, 30 of them or 20 of them at a time. And I just click, put them in all these. I don't know which ones are out there. I do get a lot of people contacting me about them. I have gotten a sale from them once. A lot of times it's just a whole bunch of people just talking. So, but if you don't have anything else going on, what if it is the one? I get better results doing the open houses though, for sure. For me, that's just an easy way. But there's lots and lots of days that nothing happens. So I can see why people think they don't work, because it seems like they go in cycles, honestly. But 19 in 1 year, obviously, was enough. But I did open houses every weekend, bar none. I'm at an open house every weekend.
On average, how many every week? Like 1, 2?
When I didn't have anything else going on, I would do Friday and Saturdays. Yeah, for sure. I did them both days. And on my listings, I start out always Friday, Saturday, and then I taper down to Saturdays.
Just one house at a time.
If I have multiple listings, I do them in the morning and the afternoon. And then I have to find somebody to do them if I have more than that. That hasn't happened that often, but.
Is there a certain number of hours that you find to be better?
No, I wish I could tell you. My standard is 11 to 2, but I've done 9 to 12 and done really well. I do 3-hour open houses. I figure if I'm putting out all those signs, I'm hanging for 3 hours. People tend to come at the end of the open houses, but there's days when that's just the opposite. And there's plenty of days where I've gone with my lender and we've sat there make sure it's somebody you enjoy spending time with. And we had a nice time. Or else I bring my laptop and I do work. I post social media posts. I do all kinds of stuff while I'm sitting there. If I'm at work, I'm at work. But man, the minute they walk in the door, put the laptop down and stand up, be connected. Because if you're only going to get that one chance, when they first walk in and when they're walking out. Once they're walking out and they give you feedback, this is just not the right house for them. I think this is a great time to say, are you working with somebody, or would you like, skip that? Would you like me to show you other houses? Now, if they say yes, you're going to have to figure out really quick somehow in there whether or not they're working with an agent. Because I would hate for you to be showing houses to somebody who's got an agent. But if you ask them that question first, a lot of times they'll say yes just because they don't want to talk. So, you just have to go with your gut, I think, a lot of times. Yeah.
Are people coming at the end because they know when it's going to be, or does it just work out that way?
I think people procrastinate, honestly.
So I had someone come after it closed, and I just let them walk through it. But I wonder how many people I miss, because I was just talking to another agent who had people that ended up buying, they were late. They were already shut down. So how many do we miss? Maybe if we advertise
Stay.
hours and then stay half an hour.
That's a really good point. Always stay at least 15. Don't even turn off lights for at least 15. Greg and I worked together for I think 3 years. And when he first started, that was one of the hardest things. I mean, 5 till he's popping lights off it. And they're gonna come. They're coming right at the hour, I guarantee you. 5 after. Get to your car, start loading up signs, they're coming. He just got a sale just the other day by going back when he was picking up signs. And that was something he learned to do because he saw the results. Yes, absolutely. Stay late. Yeah, I mean, you've done all this. I'd never say no. I mean, I'm going to drive all the way from Provo to Timbuktu to go show a sign call. So yeah, I mean, this is what I do. The thing with sales and real estate, I think in particular, is it's always going to happen if you want to make the phone ring, take a shower. Don't take a shower first thing in the morning, and you know where you need to still get in the shower, the phone's going to ring. Plan a dinner, buy tickets to something. Guaranteed those are going to be the times that you're going to get somebody that needs you to go show them houses. So it's either your money at that point, you can buy a whole bunch more tickets, have to go sell them a house.
They plan a vacation.
Florida was not getting really just slow, getting earlier here. Got 3 calls when I was in Florida for 2 weeks.
Make sure you have your backup plan. Make sure you know who's going to show houses for you, who's going to open up for the inspector. I mean, make sure you have somebody that's going to take care of your business for you, always. If you're going to make plans and buy a concert ticket or go to the movies, who's going to answer your phone while you're doing that? You can always get away with not answering the phone for an hour or 2 or texting. I can't tell you how many times I've left a theater and got out taking calls. I'm one of those people that's just crazy because really they're going to call somebody else next. Or with my clients, I mean, I don't mind using someone to show a house if I need to, but I figure by the time I get done with the transaction, I want those people to recommend me to their friends, their family. I want them to write me the best review. You can tell people who have had a really good experience. They write very detailed reviews, or a lot of my reviews say she's just like a rock star, the best ever. But how many times did I see that person? If I was showing them houses, maybe a lot. Maybe we went out 3 or 4 times, 5 times. But if I'm selling their house, that's not a lot of times you get in front of them. So I make sure it's me that goes. And even with the showings, I attend my at the escrow company, but that's the end. Now I'm asking for the review. So however many times I can get in front of them, that's a bonus for me because that's cementing our relationship. So yeah, I'm going for the long term. I am, and it works really well. Because everybody wants someone good to work with, whether it's carpeting or plumber or your real estate agent. The real estate agent in particular, because it's such a big transaction, and you do so few contacts, but they will feel so connected to you because it's probably one of the most high stress transactions they'll ever be in. It is very emotional. I spend more time counseling than I do anything else. It's going to be okay. We got this. It's going to be fine. At the time I'm thinking, geez, I hope it's going to be okay. But they never see that side of me. Okay, let's see. I swear I'm going back through the same. Oh, am I going backwards? Oh, let's say I did all this. Pick the house. Okay, so we talked about that. Which one to pick? That's why I would put the listing alert on KW Westfield. So you know how to do that on Utah Real Estate? When you go to Utah Real Estate, you're going to do search. And then at the very bottom of the search screen, there is a spot where it says listing office. So I would put, if you're going to do a lot of Salt Lake properties, I would put Salt Lakes too, but put both of our offices and then just do create a listing alert. And then you can send it to yourself express, which means it'll come to you the second it comes out, or just a summary at the end of the day. And then just be aware of who's got what look at the pictures, and I'll tell you whether or not you want to do it. But some neighborhoods are worth doing, even if it's a fixer upper, because it's priced right. A lot of people come to fixer uppers though, aren't going to be, they'll want to be unrepresented because they're into making extra money. And so that I would be leery of those. I want to use the pictures for advertising. I want to look really good on Facebook. So I would pick ones that have really good pictures that make you look good. You know, and nobody on your Facebook friends is going to know whether it's your listing or not. Everybody assumes it's your listing. So if you're doing an open house every weekend, it's looking like you are a busy realtor. And they're reminded every week that she sells real estate. Oh, look at that. Colleen's got another one. A lot of my friends always, this has been a good year for me for listing. So a lot of them are mine now, but it wasn't that way for a long time. And they would all comment, Colleen, you go, girl, look at you. Oh, this is a really nice house. Da, da, da. And I just like all their comments. Heck no. Okay, so who does a listing belong to? KW. We are just agents for KW. The brokerage, the listing belongs to the brokerage. So it belongs to you. It does.
That house, sell the house, right? Not just to be able to sell.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sure, I'm not going to be the agent they're going to talk to if they're, well, I am if I'm representing the buyer at that point. Yeah. And, and that's something to clear up. There's very few people that ever asked for a cut of my leads or the business if I did an open house for them, but there are a couple that will. So you just probably want to establish that. If I pick up leads at this, or if I bring you an unrepresented buyer, is that mine? Because I would skip anybody that, I probably shouldn't say that on Zoom. I wouldn't choose to do one that wanted a cut of it. Prepare and practice. Okay, so another thing I like to do is, again, with the Utah Real Estate app, if you open up the app, you can do nearby for sale. So you're sitting in front of the house, you've gotten there earlier, you've come to door knock. I do this for listing appointments too. Click nearby for sale, and it will show you everything that's for sale right by your location. So you may pick up stuff you would not pick up on the computer if you were inside your house.
Is that just called Utah Real Estate app, or is it
Utah Real Estate. Keller Williams may do it too, but I just use the MLS one. And then click on the top and filter. You want to go with, I filter everything. I add everything at that point. Especially if I'm going in for a listing. Now it shows me which ones sold all around me, which ones are under contract. Also, I think really important when doing an open house is, what else is for sale close by. So when they walk in and they followed your signs in, they say, oh, this is only 3 bedrooms. We really need a 4-bedroom. Well, if you know in your brain that right down the street, there's one that's available, you can say to them, there is a 4-bedroom available 2 blocks away. Would you like me to show that to you this afternoon? And now you have an appointment. Now it might be good if they say yes, are you working with an agent? Because if that's the case, then say, oh, well, then I can send your agent the information and they can show it to you. But if you know that, back in my 20s, when I first open house I ever did, we didn't know that. And somebody asked us, is there anything else in the neighborhood for sale? And I thought, well, that was a big blow it. So I make sure I know what's in the neighborhood for sale. And it's just an easy way to know. Look at the pictures too. Back in the day, you used to have to go and preview properties. Now, just look at the pictures. I can drive around and sit in front of people so you can see the neighborhood, what's around it, and look at the pictures. So that's just a nice thing to do. Um, again, I think anytime's a good time for an open house, honestly. There's no set time where it's gonna be good. Sundays, I would think in Utah Valley might be a little bit difficult, but who knows? Maybe because nobody else is doing them, it wouldn't be. I don't know.
Yeah, Sunday drive.
Again, it only takes one. All you're looking for is one. That's all you need. One person can come through, and that can be the one. So I tell myself that a lot. Um, Greg wants massive amounts of people. Massive amounts of people are hard to connect to. Honestly, if that house is full of people, how is the odds you're going to connect to anybody? So I don't know. I'm okay with it being slow. Know your market. There are so many things that you can post on your Facebook page before you go to the open house. Post, other stuff. Know the market. There's a young lady who's pretty new to our brokerage. She knows the market really well. She gets a lot from lenders and that tell her stuff. She keeps it in her head. I'm good at this. I guess if I really needed more talking points, I should know that, because they're going to ask you, especially with your regular conversations, not necessarily in your open house, but people, the minute they find out, all you have to have a real estate conversation is go do an open house and you're going to talk to people. Now you can say, I was holding this open house the other day and start talking about your open house that you held, or just know the market. What else sold? I have a listing alert on everything that sells in Utah County, everything that sells in my neighborhood, everything that sells under 300,000, everything that sells in Lambert Park, where I have my $4 million listing right now. And that stuff comes to me every morning, and I just open it up and just glance through it. So I'm always aware of what's going on in my neighborhood, because people from my church ask me a lot. Something pops up on the market, they always go, "Did you see?" Well, yes, actually I did. So you can be smart. So I would do that for sure around the open house, so you can be smart. Make sure your cell phone's fully charged. Make sure you have a charger with you. Because I guarantee you there's gonna be a time you're gonna go to the open house and you forgot to charge your phone. Lights are humongous. I think that lights sell a house so much. Make sure all the lights are on. If you're showing a property, turn on all the lights. If you don't understand how much lights do, just check out the house when you first walk in and then turn on all the lights and look at it again. It's like a whole different house. I mean, it's just turn on the lights, every one of them.
That means like there's a light in the closet.
Yes, every light. Every light. I turn everything on. Everyone. Microwave light, everything's on. I mean, there is nothing. Now, the trick to this is when you turned on every light, especially the microwave light, you got to go back over and turn them all off. Don't be distracted when you're turning off lights. I'm sure it's very annoying to the owners that probably are really good about their lights, coming home and finding, and it happens. I mean, I did my sister's listing not too long ago, and they have cameras. And I left the garage lights on, and there's like 4 of them in there. And they had to send their kid over to turn off the lights. I felt terrible. I was glad it was my sister. So you kind of, maybe twice around the house is a good idea. The big houses are really great houses to do commission-wise, but they're a lot of work turning on and off lights and a lot of responsibility. Also, for listings, hired anything like over 600, really. If I can, I go ahead of the listing agent and turn on all the lights. I can't trust a listing agent to turn on all the lights, and I know my house looks better. So I want to sell the house. So I go and turn on the lights, and then I go back. If they're out of town, I go back and turn off all the lights. Yeah, it's a lot more work. Also, if they have cameras, they know that you're doing it. See, more value. Anything you can do that shows them you're doing something that the other agents don't do. Yeah, that gave me chills that time. You get more, that's more value. So you want to do that. Check your local COVID lights. Are we glad that's not it?
I think it's important, like, as you said, like the signs and everything, like to like really good nice open houses.
Yes.
Where do you have,
That's a great thing. And if you can get people to come, I think that's phenomenal. It's a feeling. It's all emotion. So probably a year ago, Greg and I got this rolling cooler that we put glass bottles in. They cost us a lot more. And it was at the $3.6 million house. I wanted something special. And so I would tell people as they're getting ready to shoot out the door, oh, don't forget, go look in the cooler. We have the fancy kind of sodas out there. And everybody turned around and went and got one. And it was weird, the gratitude they had going out the door that they, and that's the one we got the most listing appointments off of, is that house. I don't know if it was just the vibe and the sodas helped us get that vibe, but I did it before and didn't get quite as good a reaction. It's just one more thing I got to remember to tell them to do too. But it looks so cool. So yeah, I've never done a barbecue. I think it's just one of those vibe things. I mean, if you can get the people to show up, it certainly shows a lot of effort. It certainly shows the neighbors. I would for sure make sure I door knocked if I was going to do something expensive like food truck or something. I haven't done it. That will get everybody in the neighborhood over. Sure. Yeah, anything's cool.
I think it's like as long as you're like willing to keep that kind of open house, right? Because if I live in the neighborhood and then I know that you did it for my neighbor and then I call.
Oh, for sure. You'll have to do it for the other neighbors.
I will be very disappointed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but how cool would it be if you're getting numerous houses in the same neighborhood? Yeah. Yeah, I'd be lucky if I just get something in my neighborhood. I've been there 6 years. I have done one. So, and I started going to a weekly game thing with some ladies in my neighborhood. And that's how I got her. So, you just, especially beginning, you got to get involved in as many things as you can because you need to be in front of people talking about real estate. And you don't even have to bring it up. All you have to do, when you first sit down in a group of people, I don't care where the table's at, it's going to go around the table at some point. What do you do? And that's all I need asked out of me. As soon as you say you're a real estate agent, they're going to want to know stuff about real estate. And they start asking you questions. And that's how I got one of my listings in Mona, was at a golf tournament. I had joined when I first started real estate, moved to Utah. I had no SOI. And so I joined foundations and did all kinds of stuff. And that's how it happened. It was just at the table. Conversation went around. She goes, would you be interested in going all the way to Mona to sell a house? I did. We did both sides of that one. Then then we got to sell the one that came in unrepresented. We got to sell their house. And then we did both sides of that one. And now Greg's got another listing from that one that came in unrepresented to the second one. So that was, so far has been 5 off of the one open house. Yeah, we have a lot of stories like that. Are we done at 11? Is that what time we're supposed to be done? Yeah. Let me see if there's anything here I definitely want to talk about. The mindset thing, honestly. Sometimes it's just hard to have a good mindset. Like coming in here today, I got a bunch of stuff going on with some of my listings and stuff, and I had to let that go. And sometimes just telling yourself to let it go, or having a quiet moment and clear your mind. Because if you're uptight in any way, you're carrying stuff, you're not going to connect. They can feel it, So affirmations, if you have some that you can always go to, say them. It's a funny thing about your subconscious and your brain. If you stick stuff on the wall and you read it, your subconscious doesn't know that you didn't really buy into it. I've had like 5 things in my bathroom that are around me that are just affirmations I got when I first started real estate that I think are pretty hokey, and they've all come true. So I don't know if it's from my signs in the bathroom or not, but put them up, for heaven's sakes. What if it worked? What if it's the one? Yeah, what do you have to lose? Yep. I was really struggling. Greg and I both had a slow start this year. Then I did like 5. So there was like 4 months where there was nothing. And this month I have 6 transactions. I'm going to close, no kidding, my best month ever in real estate, but I just came off of a long period without. Thank you. But they all seemed like they were problems after about 2 weeks. A lot of them started to fall apart. And so I put it up on the wall and I put down everything I wanted to happen to every one of them. I was just looking at that list the other day. They're all closing. We got through all the problems. We had to switch a few buyers, but put it up. So I think mindset is everything. Whatever you got to do. And put the speakers on at night and let it play in your ears. Who cares, as long as you can smile and know it's coming, as it is. Never give up. And it's okay when when everybody walked out the door and didn't want to talk to you that day. That happens to me a lot. Yeah. So maybe I do five open houses, and the sixth one, I'm going to get a client. Well, I just got to get rid of 5. You don't know which ones. My sign's making all that noise in my car. I always tell myself that's the sound of money. Clink, 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 sound of money.
Sound of money.
That's right. And it's proven. I mean, 6 years into the business, I probably would have no business without it. I shouldn't say that. Of course I would have business. But yeah, it's open houses for me. I mean, I figure there's only so many ways to make money in real estate. You know, everybody finds their niches. But for me, door knocking is just like, I know so many good door knockers though. And I've had really good experiences when I've done it. Take somebody with you. Sheila will go door knock. There's lots of lenders that'll go door knock with you. Take somebody else that sells real estate. Have them go door knock with you. Then at least it gets you out there, makes you accountable. You know, you have that date you have to go. But man, I'm telling you, it's like anxiety ridden for me. I don't know why, because Utah, people are very receptive at the doors. Most of them. Maybe because a lot of them have, you know, people in their family that have had to do door knocking of one kind or another. I don't know what it is.
Door to door.
Yeah.
For a lot of guys don't have state.
That seems to have the most success for people. If you don't have anything going on today and you door knocked every day this week, you'd have something by the end of the week for sure. Open houses, I don't know if that's true. I mean, you know, you can do weeks before you showed something. So you could door knock for your open houses though, so you can do both. And you'd have something to put on your Facebook page. I think that probably is one of the most huge thing, is just having something that's going up, telling everybody that you're friends with, and become friends with lots of people. You know, when you meet somebody, go find them and have them become your friend on Facebook so they can see that you sell real estate every week when you post. I just hired a girl here in KW. She's posting on my Facebook right now for me every day. And she didn't charge very much. It's like, I don't know, 150 bucks. And she's created all these cute little posts for me. And because I just don't get on it. But now that I know she's doing it, I'm getting better because I want stuff in between it. So, you know, I just go through and throw out my stuff. But that's not open house. Okay, so let me flip through this really quick, make sure. The buddy system, I've only had one time ever at an open house I felt uncomfortable. I didn't go down in the basement with him. It just felt weird to me. So I stayed upstairs. I don't advise anybody going into basements alone with people. The other thing too is I make one round around the house and make sure, especially if it's my listing, I tell my sellers, put your medicines away. Put them in a small box, top of your closet, and any jewelry. Don't leave anything where people would think to look, because the fact of the matter is there are people who come to open houses to rip people off. I had a couple, they were young people, and they split as soon as they came in the front door. So luckily there was 2 of us. A lot of times my husband goes to my open houses. He's not an agent, but I could call him up, and then he just walks around. They'll leave really fast if they know you're following them around. But most important is if they have a lot of stuff sitting around, I would talk to if it's for somebody else, I would talk to the listing agent and say, is it okay if I put this stuff where it's not out in the open? Because in the end, you're responsible for that house that day. Make sure you check your back doors. Don't lock the door between the garage and the house, because everybody goes in through their garages. So when you're locking up a house, don't lock that door. You could done everything right that day and lock them out of their house. That would be very bad.
Then double check that the door outside the garage.
Yes. Oh, all doors, because people during open houses open up everything. So you have to be really careful. It's really good not to be distracted when you're turning off lights and locking doors. Don't be on the phone or anything else. Focus on it, because you are responsible for that person's house. And especially if it's somebody else's listing. Now, you know, I have people that I did open houses for here at this office when I first started that changed brokerages and would still call me to do their open houses for them, even though they were a different brokerage. Dean's like this on it. He didn't say I couldn't. If they were really good houses, I would do it if I didn't have something else going on. I didn't like doing those as much because you can't advertise those on your Facebook page because it belongs to another brokerage. So it really didn't benefit me. But the point I was trying to make, can you tell I have ADD? I can go this far away from where I'm supposed to be. Then I forgot what the point was. I was just gonna say that's so funny. Oh, sorry. That's funny. Um, sorry, I don't know what it was. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, you don't want to have a bad experience with it. You want people to want you to do their open houses. And if you take really good care of it, you make them look good. I would be very selective who I wanted to do my open houses for my listings if I wasn't doing them. Because if they leave the doors unlocked, if their neighbors tell them, and neighbors well, I came in and all they were doing is on their computer, or they just tried to find out, if they could show me another house, and I didn't even tell them I wasn't interested in your house. Any of that would be very bad. So that's why we're always, I had to really restructure the way I thought about open houses. This is just this past year, and I am there to sell that house. And the rest of it all falls in line. If you do a really good job, people just are going to want to be around you and work with you. And so it's just, I'm not a big script person. I just don't really worry about any of that. The ones that are meant for me happen. And trust me when I tell you, low level here. You can go up, and my best advice for people who want to know how to handle a good open house, stop at open houses. Go see how other agents are doing it. And you'll know right away people who you want to be like. And I think mostly they're just connecting with people. Catch their feedback on the way out the door. It's another chance to have a conversation and leave them alone. There was a couple feedback we got from some people. Greg's a talker. He's phenomenal at it. Best small talk person I know. But some people don't want to be small talked. And my sister, when we were doing her listing, saw on the cameras that the person said if I wanted to come in and have a conversation, then I would talk to my neighbors and my friends or something like that. I just wanted to see the house. So that was a good reminder for us to, just show the house, let them see the house, catch them on the way in, catch them on the way out. You're probably seeing lots of open houses. You're not the only person they're going to talk to that day that wants to sell them real estate. Okay, so select it, post it, door knock it, and follow up. Boy, I can imagine how busy I'd be if I followed up with anybody. That would be amazing. Sure. I can send you all these slides if you want.
Okay, yeah, that would be great.
Okay. Oh, I don't know if I have cards in here or not. You can, if you want to write it down, I'll tell you what my email is. Just ask me for it, I'll send it to you. It's Colleen Christensen, my name, realty@gmail.com. You can ask me for anything. You can contact me for any questions. Oh, here we go. I am always willing to help. You're welcome. Okay, you guys have any questions for me? Tell me your biggest aha today.
Design. Like going to, like taking the signs to the point where a lot of people are gonna, because sometimes like just the neighborhood or outside where that's a lot of traffic, that's great. Definitely like finding out that you got success, you got some clients because you did that. I think it's something that I never, like, I thought about it, but when I was doing real estate, but I saw so many agents just doing, this many signs that I was like, okay, maybe, I'm going over the top, and I was doing it alone. Now it's like the both of us like doing it. It's just, but it was after the open house when I was exhausted because I'm not outgoing person that much. So after talking to this many people, I was just like done, and then going and pick up all of those signs. I was like, okay, I better not, stop doing this. But I think it's great what you said, like, I think it's amazing, and people see that, actually, yeah, they notice, you know, for the.
Are you putting the address on the signs that you put? So you're just starting it somewhere with high traffic and then.
I will look at Google Maps the night before and try to find where my big places are, like Smith's or Walmart, and try to work it from there. A lot of times though, I'll get on the ground. If it's not my listing, I'll get on the ground and it's totally different than what I had mapped out. So I'll start at the listing and drive out to some place and figure out where it looks like the flow of traffic's the best. The tired thing at the end of the open house, honestly, is so true. I can't tell you, especially if I put out a lot of signs. Some of them I walked from the freeway, so I'd have to walk a long distance to get it to the freeway where they could see them the minute they got off the freeway. And I just always do my affirmations during those times, because otherwise I ruined the whole thing if I just invested all this time and it's not going to work out. That what have I told my brain about the whole thing? So I just tell myself that I'm going to make a lot of money. I've done this. I put out all this effort today. This is going to pay off. I'm going to be successful. I am successful in real estate. And that's what anytime I feel like grumbling at all, or when I'm so tired, I tell myself how successful this is going to be. And it has been very successful.
For me, working with a lender and then actually advertising them with your house.
I mean, I'm just newer, so just knowing that all the listing alerts, sold alerts as well.
Mm.
Having all that.
Yeah, digesting it a lot is very helpful. You never know when you're going to use it. And knowing, I'll tell you what I find in the solds especially is if I set it up for just solds, I will open them all up and see how much under the sales price the house sold for, and then see the ones that sold really fast, did they sell for under? Some of them always surprised me. Some of them were like 3 days were on the market and they took a hefty price cut. As an agent writing an offer, would I think I could offer them that much lower? That always surprises me. It shows how much concessions they got. So it shows how much closing costs they paid. Almost always the ones that have been on the market for a month or 2 months took a huge price drop. It's that free fall position you do not want to be in. But sometimes, as I just found out with my townhome for the first time, everything could be perfect. And well, we shouldn't have turned down those first 2 offers. So it really, and see, shoot, I should have been more clear on what the expectation was with my client. And if I had been watching my under contracts better, I would have known, or it could have just been a fluke. I'll tell you what it taught me is you just don't know. You know, and so when you're turning down the offers, you have to set the expectation that there may not be. My expectation was there would be more. I was pretty confident of it, and yet there wasn't. And we dropped and we dropped and we dropped. So we missed it by $25,000, and we were at a low price to start. I don't know why. And everybody that saw the house, I mean, it was a phenomenal property. It was mint condition. Excellent area. So who knows? Sure humbled me. Sure took away my theory. If you stage it, it's clean. You price it right, it will sell. Guess what? It will sell if I would have even accepted one of those $10,000 in closing cost offers right off the bat. And almost, that's why you have to know the market. You have to watch the market, because maybe you do need a little bit of a pad. Maybe you don't list at a really good, because she wanted to sell fast. You don't go in at the lowest number. You leave it enough room for closing costs, because they're going to come in the beginning, especially at full price or a little bit under, and they want the closing costs. So you have to leave enough room there. But you don't want to overshoot it either, because then you get nothing. So it's the hardest part of the job, in my opinion, is pricing the house.
Another thing that I would like to point out that I really like is what you said about the flyers and like where the stores are. So I think the more information people get about the house, and the better. You know, like if they have some information about shopping and she mentioned something else. I know the houses. I think like some of the houses that have, you mentioned that. Kind of like the same number of bedrooms and stuff like that. That would be great to, just have some information. Because even if I'm not looking by right now, I will appreciate my age or that agent doing that and think about it when I sell. So,
Well, and the best thing that can happen, especially if they don't have an agent on your sign-in sheet, is for them to have a question on something about the house. And just tell them, if you give me your number, I'll text you the answer as soon as they respond. And now, especially if you know they don't have an agent, you can respond with that and, send them something else in a few days that's similar to that house. If that house isn't going to work out, send them this, whether or not they say they want anything from you, as long as they don't have an agent, just send them something else that came on the market. This came on yesterday. I thought of you. Would you like to see it? Everything's would you like to see it? Because if you can get in front of them right after your open house, I always figure you have till like Wednesday, because then they're gonna have new open houses to go to. You have till Wednesday to show them a property. Your main goal in life, if you have a number and somebody actively interested in buying real estate, is to get them in a house by Wednesday. So find them something. Send them another one, send them another one, send them another one. Would you like to see it? You can get in front of them. They are yours. Don't let any time go by from that open house till Wednesday. You have to be talking to them. Otherwise, they're moving on to the next agent. Some people don't want to work with agents. You just have to know that. Especially in Utah. They want to be unrepresented. It's a disaster when they're unrepresented too. I mean, it's just, they don't know what they're doing. They think this looks like an easy job. It does. And I guess for the most part, it is an easy job, but a lot of stuff can go wrong. A lot of stuff happens, and there's a lot of stuff you don't know until you get some more experience. And guess how you get experience? Doing. And the best thing about KW is there are everybody on that wall, just about, you can call every one of them today and they'll answer your questions without even thinking twice about it. It's just what's expected here. Everybody will help everybody, and everybody on there's talked to somebody that got help from somebody. And all those people have lots of experience. So Dean's a busy guy. I would call another agent. Hey, I just had this question, and Colleen taught open house class the other day. She said I should call the agents on the wall. I saw your picture. Obviously, you're successful in real estate. Now, who's not going to want to answer a question after that? They will. Those people know a lot more than me. When I started, open houses, I had no other source. I didn't have any SOI. I didn't know a single person here in Utah when I arrived. And I got my real estate license within the first month. So it was all open houses for me. The other three I think I did the first year were probably, I'd have to look it up. I don't remember how I got them. I think I got one from Facebook, which still goes back to open houses, because I stuck at one of those groups, one of those indoor outdoor, and I forgot to take it off, which I do a lot. And so she contacted me a good time after we had sold that house, or the agent had sold that house. And so I said, well, that one's not available anymore, but would you like me to send you some that are very similar? She goes, oh yeah. So I got her. Yeah. Just wanting somebody to use you as an agent without giving them something valuable from you is, everybody would like. I mean, you want to see how many people are trying to get business. Look at some of those posts in some of those like Lehi's community group, and somebody says, I'd like to buy a house. I don't know who to call. I mean, it's like 300 messages that day. I mean, they're just swamped. That's how many people are out there fighting for that business if it's something like that. But how many people actually sent them a house to look at? How many people actually even just sent them a message personally, didn't put their name on there, but messaged them and told them what they offer that's different? And that's the hard thing, is figuring out what you offer. And you only know that by going out and talking to people and figuring out what you do offer. You can say, I answer my phone, which is a huge deal. Call 4 agents about listings and see how many pick up their phone today. Most of them don't pick up your phone. But I always think that one sounds hokey. I still don't even know what I offer. They always say that to you in classes too. Know your value proposition. When you know it and you think of things, write it down in your notes file. I find that really helpful, because I can always find my note file on stuff. But know what you can bring that the other people can't. I'm available to show you houses. When it comes on the market, I can get you out there within an hour. And that's very important on any good house. Good houses go fast. Houses are taking longer to sell. The good houses are not. They're still selling, except for my townhome in Cedar Hills. That one, not so much. But everything else. My $4.1 million house, he got an offer at work for he just built it. It's only a year old. It was their dream home. Somebody at work wanted to buy it, offered him a crazy amount of money for the house. And the guy I had worked with said, don't you dare just sell to him. You need to call. I have the best real estate agent. I'll put you in a group text with her. That minute, he put me in the group text with him. And I said, well, I'll need to see the house before I could, know anything to talk to you about it. So I was in their house that night. I assumed I was getting it because Kristen said I should have it. So I brought my listing agreement with me. And they told me, I told them, and I used this for our previously highest one, the $3.6 million. They weren't sure they wanted to sell, also had just built their house. And I said, figure out your pie in the sky price. But what price is it worth it to you to sell this house for? Go away for the weekend. Let us do an open house. If it sells, then great. If it doesn't, then, next time you want to go away for a weekend, call me up. We'll try it again. So they did. It sold. Same thing on the $4.1 million house. They were going away for 3 weeks. How convenient for me. I said, well, they give me a 3-week listing agreement. If it sells, then good. If not, I got great marketing. I got a chance to talk to your neighbors and pick up some new clients. I said, this is not a loss for me. I mean, I didn't have to stage that house. All I had to do is pay for a photographer. They let me, they came back, didn't sell. And I asked them if I could have an extension for 2 weeks in case any of those people that had seen it, which was true. There was a lot of people that showed interest, contacted us. We don't have to do any more open houses or anything because you're back. And they said, okay. That very next week, a real estate agent showed that house, and that's how we went under contract. So had I not gotten that extension, the funny part about this story is that one canceled, and he ended up selling to the original guy for a higher price, and he kept me. I had no right to the commission whatsoever, and he gave it to me because I had worked so hard at selling his house. So that was pretty cool. So you just do your best. You just do your best. You show a lot of value. What if I had an open house, his house every Friday and Saturday for 3 weeks? I mean, I was doing it for obvious purposes. I was trying to get more clients, and I was hoping I was going to sell it. And I told myself I was selling that house every day, every day, every day. And I never gave up hope. Mindset, it's everything. And the times that you don't have the mindset is when you need the mindset the most. So whatever it takes to tell yourself. I mean, when my 2 weeks was running out, I was thinking, oh no, am I really not going to sell that house? And then the phone call came. You never know when the phone call's coming. So we close tomorrow. Oh, I'll be skipping from a brokerage will give me a check because once it's over a certain commission amount, they won't wire it. So I'll come home and get my check and skip all the way to the bank. I'm gonna be better with my money this time too. Last year I had a lot of money and I blew through it. This time I'm gonna save it for a rainy day because you just don't know. That's the hardest part. They say this is how people in real estate sell real estate. Because you get your money, you go on vacation and spend it. Now I'm gonna go back to work again. Get your money, go on vacation, spend it. And that's how everybody is, and so somebody said to me the other day, what are you gonna do after you get paid for this one? Oh, I'm gonna keep selling real estate. I learned that lesson. Because I gotta have at least, 4 to 6 months worth that, if you get in that place, you're okay. When you get listings, you got to put money in them. And that's money you don't see. And I did have a listing. Did I have a listing? Well, I guess we did sell it after all. Okay, so I didn't have a listing that we put all that money in. Came close to, when you stage, I stage a lot of houses. That's a big investment of money. And there's no guarantee you're getting that back. But it's okay because I got a lot of good pictures out of it. I own those pictures. I can use them at any time and don't drop the ball on social media. And open houses. I haven't been very good about door knocking my open houses. I'm losing a lot of business, not door knocking. You could even not do open houses if you wanted to door knock. Just ask the agents who get new listings if you can door knock their neighborhoods because they're not. And they say, and I know the statistic is true, I've seen it over and over again, 3 or 4 houses will come on the market in the same area after one house goes on the market. I don't know why that is, But you watch, it happens. Put an alert on that neighborhood too. Go door knock that neighborhood. Figure out where you really want to sell houses. Manifest it. Go door knock it, watch it, get smart about it, talk about it. That's another thing I think would be easy for door knocking. If you knew the houses that came on the neighborhood and you just want to talk to people about it. This house down the street just came on the market. Do you know of anybody that would like to move into your neighborhood? It'll start a real estate conversation. Or this house just sold. Would you like to know what it sold for? Everybody wants to know what their neighbor's house sold for. That's a great time to door knock. And you don't need anybody's permission to do that. At least I don't think you do. I want to ask Dean. Maybe because we're a non-disclosed. So can you tell everybody what somebody's house sold for? Don't use that. Are we still recording? I hope not.